Welcome back. It's time for a little bit of edumacation. Here's a problem that I didn't even know existed, and chances are you don't know it exists either until you find yourself in a position where you're looking for this, and you're going to realize, oh my God, this is a terror. So this guy here had a completely different diffuser, the rear diffuser when we bought it. It had this fancy piece over here. It's a really cool piece. Unfortunately, when I put the Acropovics on it, the Acropovic tips don't clear these openings. So I wasn't able to keep it on. Had to go with a factory style rear diffuser. But otherwise looks, you'll notice though that there are no reverse lights on here, right? There's no spot for reverse lights. Whereas the factory, as you no doubt are aware, they're right here. The factory reverse lights, the backup lights are mounted into the factory diffuser. Okay, so we had to go with the factory diffuser on this guy here. All right, we got a pair of lights in there, but no sockets, no pigtails. Folks that had mounted that diffuser to it previously just cut the pigtails off altogether. God knows what the hell they did with the lights. They mounted some little strip LED things, little cheap, one was gone actually and the other one was broken, so it doesn't really matter. Bottom line is I need to get a set of reverse lights working on this car. If you happen to be in a county where they do safety checks, safety inspections and stuff like that, that is one of the things you need is functioning reverse lights, which I most definitely don't have. So how do we do that? All right, I figured this is going to be real simple. Pigtails are plentiful. Connectors and sockets are plentiful. Surely, a Cars and Coffee staple that is the C6, there've got to be 1,001, aftermarket solutions for this, right? Yeah, that's what I thought too. Then I started looking and I realized, God, there's nothing out there. I looked and looked. So the way this works out, the pigtails, they are available from GM. However, each pigtail is about 90 bucks, give or take, 80 to $100, depending on where you get it from, what the dealer markup is. So you're in a hole almost 180, 200 bucks just for pigtails. I figured, Jesus, I couldn't believe it. And that's actually what prompted me to start looking aftermarket. But if you think that's bad, hold your britches. So that would take care of the pigtails. All right, fine. I still need sockets. Here's a factory socket, okay? Stole it from Tom's car. Don't tell him. Here's a factory socket, and I went ahead and checked, and sure enough, wouldn't you know it, God bless the general, you can't get these guys unless you buy the whole lamp assembly. You need the whole reverse lens in order to get this guy, okay? For those curious, I gandered around in the aftermarket. I did find a lot of aftermarket reverse lamps. They run about 180, 200 bucks and change and up. And a lot of them, you got to watch out because a lot of them don't have these things. They don't actually come with sockets. It's just a lens. So I didn't bother pricing it out. The OE one, I'm sure it's 200, 250 or more. So, I mean, already you're looking at between pigtails and sockets, lenses, a $500 project just to get reverse lights. I was blown away. I could not believe it. Here's where I got lucky though. Someone on the Corvette forums, because apparently forums are still a thing somewhere. Someone on the Corvette forums was in a similar situation. They'd broken the connector, broken the socket, something like that. And they are posting pictures of the connector and asking where to get it and so on and so forth. In one of these though, she happened to hold it in such a I say she, if it was a he, he's got amazing nails, wonderful nails. But she holds it in such a fashion that there is a manufacturer's, not a GM part number, but like a manufacturer's casting number from the manufacturer of the connector itself, right there on the plastic. I took that number, which came out really clear, and ran it through Google, and these guys popped up right here. Amazon, baby. Jeff Bezos' finest. When I went ahead and did some further poking, she took some really good pictures, thankfully, of the factory connector, and I was able to compare it, and they looked absolutely identical. All the locating marks, the pins themselves, everything looked dead on, so I was pretty happy with that. Okay, great. I think these are like, I think 10 bucks, 12 bucks for the pair. So score, but that's only half the equation. I still got to figure out something for the connector, and I did not want to spend $300-400 on a new pair of GM lenses just to get connectors. So what I noticed was when you scroll down on any product page on Amazon, right? You scroll down a little bit, you usually find a picture of the same thing, and it'll be this plus so on and so forth, like commonly purchased together items, and it actually had these guys together. I could not get a good enough picture of the factory socket to really be comfortable with what I was getting, but it looked close. Okay, matter of fact, in the picture it was really hard to see that this is actually a 3-pin, whereas you only need a 2-pin, and we'll get into that in a second. But anyways, they were like $14.95 prime, easy returns, baby. So I figured, what the hell, and I placed the order. Box came in, took it all apart, and sure enough, it is in fact a 3-pin, which kind of threw me off for a second. However, the orientation of the pins, the spacing of the pins, you can see that, or how well you can see it, but it actually matches perfectly. And the connector has a blank socket in the middle there, just an empty socket. So the fact that it has a 3rd pin is not going to matter. When I connected these guys up, this is where I ran into a little problem. So you'll notice here on the connector, you've got these 2 locators, those little cavities at the top right here, one on the left, one on the right, and on the bottom there where my thumb is, you got that one that kind of like points down, right? And to the left, there's nothing there. Okay, on the socket, now on the factory socket, it matches up perfectly. 2 on the top go up, and it actually has 2 going either side down, but since the cavity is empty, this one doesn't matter. These guys are just a wee bit different because you got 1 going up, 2 going either side of the bottom, which is fine, but then you got this one autistic one here kind of going off in the middle of nowhere. I did try to plug it in anyways, and sure enough, obviously it hit, so it interfered, didn't let the connector slide in. So I just took my little whirly bird there, and bada bing, there you go, baby. Smooth as silk. And yes, I did connect it. Connected the pigtails to the sockets, plugged bulb in, and went over there, shot it with 12 volts worth of Pixie Magic, and the light worked perfectly fine. So couldn't be happier with that. Couldn't be more thrilled. For about 29 bucks, I solved a $300-400 problem. I did check. You are going to notice one difference about these connectors, by the way. The sockets, excuse me. Factory is a 90 degree. These are a straight out. Now, I did check. I poked my head up and in there. I'm not going to bother showing you because you just can't see. It's a little bit dark. There is a good enough space behind it where I don't believe this is going to be a problem. I've got to go ahead and mount it up there still, but the difference in spacing is, an inch or so. So I think there's plenty of space back there. That shouldn't be an issue. I did check that these little locating or the locking tangs here, I don't know if you can be able to see that in the video, but they are the same. They're lined up the same way. So it doesn't really show up very well in the video. Maybe if I move it a little bit. Well, anyways, take my word for it. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and link the part numbers in the description. This was the 2 sockets. Came as a pair, $14.95. And these were the pigtails, 1 each. I think they were like $7, $8 each, something like that. So, but I'll go ahead and get the part numbers. I'll verify the link still works. Drop the link in the description. And yeah, I mean, like I said, man, try to making a simple solution for a ridiculously, needlessly complicated and expensive problem, which I can't believe is even a problem. I'm blown away how many people were I found online Googling the same thing and asking the same question on every page of the forum. And nobody makes a convenient kit for this. So here you go. Hope it helps. Enjoy.